Welcome to Runar, game presentation and gameplay basics. Arr! Greetings, mighty Vikings! This is Adam, aka Weekly Game Night, and I'm here to tell you a story about Runar, the competitive 1-4 players campaign game from good people of Ludus Magnus studio. This game is launching on Kickstarter on November 29th, and as usual, you will find the link to the campaign in the description of this video, and I'm here to take you on a Nordic adventure. In Runar, each player leads a group of 3 Viking heroes who must survive the icy northern lands, populated by strange and dangerous creatures while attempting to recover mythical runic gems and precious divine objects. Before we continue, if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button or leave a like, and shall you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. In this video, I will show you all the wonderful components of Runar, and I will also show you how to play this game that features asymmetrical heroes, deck and hand management, combats and campaign mode. Skål, Vikings, let's go then! Welcome to Runar game presentation. But before we start, please just keep in mind that what you see here is a prototype, and components and their number may and will change after the Kickstarter campaign is finished. Okay, let's start off with the game board. This cardboard square map depicts the land in which up to 4 clans will clash. The map is divided into 4 clans' territories, and each territory has 4 zones divided into 9 nodes on which the heroes will move. But that map is just a canvas on which you place all the game elements, as it will become the central living point of the table. There are basically unlimited ways you can set it up, but of course, game comes with some fixed setups, so choose your battlefield. And now, just watch these cardboard statues, obelisks, tokens, and of course heroes' miniatures up close. There is some table presence there. Did someone say miniatures? Oh yeah! This game comes with 12 heroes miniatures that represent playable characters. Miniatures are detailed, well sculpted, exactly the ones you want to paint. Each hero miniature is accompanied by a tarot card on which you see special hero actions, movement points and action cube slots. And so meet the team of our fierceful Vikings. Brandr, Halvard, Björn, Gunhild, Helga, Hrafn, Frida, Erik, Arne, Ebbe, Feima and Orovar. And each hero comes with a special action deck consisting of 10 visually pleasing cards. These cards will generate you action cubes that you're gonna use to perform the actions. And there are cardboard clan dashboards, one for each of the clans. On the clan board, players will keep blue and yellow shards trackers and all the action cubes as well. There is a slot for the action decks and used cards, and special places for trophy tokens and heroes cards that you get for attacking opposing heroes. But there is an evil lurking in this uncharted land, as nemesis such as Jarl's berserkers and wild boarish furry pets won't make player tasks easy. Right by the map, you will place 2 thick boards. First one is the Destiny board that controls the scenario objectives and the game flow. You will place shards, monster and danger tokens in the special slots, and it has a slot for a deck of fate that decides where the shards will be placed on the map, but also when the game ends, cause as you draw the event card, you are one step closer to the climax of this scenario. There is also victory points track and a space for mission cards for all the players that will add or subtract the victory points in the end of the game. The other board is the Nemesis board, and here you will place all the Nemesis cards, aka enemies, that you will encounter in this scenario. Once the enemies will get them some points, they will move forward on the victory points track. Be careful though, Nemesis win the game once they reach 20 point threshold. There are also 2 slots for keeping damage heroes cards on the Nemesis board. The game of course comes with tons of tokens, danger, monster, defense, first player, points, but there is one token type to rule them all: shards. This is why our mighty clans are here for, so keep an eye out for them. Runar is a campaign game spread into 5 scenarios. The winner of each scenario is the player who will get the most points when the game is ended. And there are various ways to score points, like collecting yellow and blue shards, dealing damage to opponents, building statues, following directions shown on mission and objective cards that will yield you some points in the end of the game. And the ultimate winner will be the player who wins the final scenario. Okay, now that the setup is done, we can start playing. And so, you will start each game of Runar by choosing this scenario, which will describe the conditions, rewards and game board setup. Runar is played on the map divided into square clans territories. These territories are divided into 4 zones consisting of 9 nodes each. Players, heroes and Nemesis will use these nodes to move across the map. In Runar, Vikings leaders turned players play their rounds one by one. After all the players are done with their actions, it's time to take control of Nemesis. Player with the least victory points will be the one to follow Nemesis' automated actions and gets to choose who to attack or where to move if possible. Each player turn starts with the tactical phase. This is when you're gonna prepare for the upcoming turn. In this phase you can perform one of the actions. Let's start with coordinate. Spend 1 green or white cube to draw 3 cards from your deck and discard up to 3 cards to the bottom of your deck. Up next is fortify. Spend 1 white cube to acquire 1 defense token for your hero. Next we have a build tactic. Player discards indicated number of action cubes and adds a segment to the statue in their territory, following the order body for 2 cubes, head for 3 and flame for 4. This tactics grants you also some minor bonus, like advantage card, inspiration card or even a shard. Charge tactics is to quickly move to adjacent zone in case you want to jump into action and fast, but this will cost you 1 green or white cube. Finally, we have the equip tactics. It will cost you nothing, and if you have artifacts or items, you can equip them to make one of your heroes even more powerful. Once the player is done with the tactics phase, we can move forward. It's time for some action, cause it's action phase time! Arr! First you get to choose which cards to play, and by playing a card you activate a hero, and you better choose wisely because you can only play 1 card. These cards will yield you some actions cube and possibly special symbols. To perform any action you will have to use these cubes first, and these runic symbols on the other hand are for performing hero specific actions. After playing your card, it's time to activate a hero. There are plenty of actions to choose from, but don't worry, this game is pretty streamlined. Each cube color grants you ability to play different actions. Green is known as Agility Cube. It lets you move your hero up to the movement point limit. You can as well use it to push other models to possibly deal some damage or to throw shards. But in this case, we're gonna spend it to move our mighty Brandr closer to the enemies. Yellow is the instinct cube. You can collect yellow shards with it. Each time you collect a shard, you get 1 victory point, move your shards tracker 1 space forward, and the shard goes to the shard pool on the fate track. You can also spend yellow cube when attacked to defend yourself. Blue, also known as the strength cube, is for the attack. Each time you attack another faction's model, if the defending character has a shield, he can use it, and as a reward, attacker will get advantage card. If, on the other hand, hero doesn't have any shields, then the opposing player must give 1 card of that character from hand or the deck. You will use both hero and advantage cards to score victory points. If at any point hero will run out of cards, he will get knockout and he will receive 1 straight victory point. Easy. But if you get to attack the Nemesis, you have to deal more damage than the attacking unit's hit points. If you manage to do it, then the Nemesis is eliminated and you will get the reward shown on the Nemesis card. That's it for combat, but by spending blue cube, you can also collect blue shards and trigger traps to deal some damage. Finally, white cube is a joker. It can be spent to use any action, or you can use it to switch heroes or to destroy statues of other factions. In this case, I'm spending 2 yellow cubes to destroy the statue. Nah, not really. I want it to be more dramatic, but you can only remove 1 level of the statue. Active player can perform as many actions as he wishes until he runs out of the cubes. Once the active player is done with the activations, it's time for a support phase in which you will simply move your current turn card to memory deck and get dice bonus shown on the side of the card. And now, my mighty Vikings, it's time for the fate phase. In this phase, if there are any shards in the shards pool, player with the least victory points will draw 1 card from the fate deck. If the drawn card is a fate card, then that player will place the shard token in the sector and node shown on the card. Just remember, shard tokens are victory points, so you better place them wisely. Alternatively, if the drawn card is an even card, then the shard token is lost. Players will get instant bonus from the card and a new way to obtain victory points at the end of the game. You will place event cards on the fate track, and once it's full, the game comes to an end. Afterwards, we get to the Nemesis phase, in which, pretty much the same as with the fate phase, player will get to choose where to place a Nemesis if Nemesis tokens are available. One difference is that instead of drawing a card, the discarded fate card will be used. And pretty much that's it when it comes to the player turn. Once you are done, it's time for the next player turn, and once all players are done, it's time for the Nemesis turn. In this turn, player with the least victory points will take control of Nemesis following the actions written on the Nemesis card. But that player will get to decide what to do if multiple solutions are possible, so it's quite good to be the last while playing Runar. Usually, instead of collecting Nemesis, we'll try to absorb the shard's energy, attack players and/or move to a node with the shard. But as Nemesis is an automated player, once it reaches 20 victory points, all human players lose. So it will be player's task to cooperate a bit to get rid of those nasty monsters. And that's it, folks. It's time for the next player turn, and so the game of Runar goes with collecting shards, attacking, building, and doing anything unpleasant to win the game. And the game ends when the Nemesis reach 20 victory points, which you don't want, or when you run out of spaces for events on the fate track. After this scenario is completed, the winner will receive the reward, some badass artifact card, and it's time for players to develop their character and to spend your shard level tracker points to obtain some nifty items that will help the heroes in the future scenarios. And then, it's time for another game of Runar, so I better get going. Thanks for watching, And if you want to hop on the Northern Adventure, then be sure to check Runar from Ludus Magnus Studio on Kickstarter. It was Adam aka Weekly Game Night. Skull Vikings! Arr!